Fresh off of their annual meeting, Southern Company is announcing that they've reached a battery testing agreement with Tesla Motors. The electric utility will test commercial-scale battery storage and will examine potential applications for energy storage technology to help meet customers' energy needs. Joining us right now to talk about this and much more is Tom Fanning. He is the chairman, president, and CEO of Southern Company. Nick Akins is chairman, president, and CEO of American Electric Power. And, of course, our guest host today is David Steiner of Waste Management. And, gentlemen, welcome to both of you.
Thank you, Dynamite. Great being with you again.
Now, the reason we have you all here is you are both customers of David's. So why don't we explain that relationship first?
Well, you know, one thing about the electric utility industry is they've been doing recycling for years and years and years. No one recycles more material than the electric utility industry. They're using leftover coal ash to do road beds, to all sorts of different beneficial reuses. And then what we do is we work with the plants to also get the inside of the plants more green. And so you know, the commitment these guys have to making their businesses more green, making them more sustainable, really is demonstrated every day when they work with us.
Well, let's talk about how energy prices are affecting all of you at this point. Nick, why don't we start off with you? Just talk a little bit about what it means for the low natural gas prices.
Yeah, certainly natural gas has a very big impact on our customers from a fuel cost perspective. Our fuel cost is a pass-through to customers, so whenever natural gas prices are lower, it's a direct benefit to the economy and our customers, and really it's a value to us because as we go through and use our portfolio, we're using less coal, more natural gas, and more renewables and so forth, so it really balances out our portfolio. So it's a great thing.
Prices for natural gas have confounded many people for many years at this point. Is this a whole new game that we are looking at low prices just because of the massive production that we've seen and the discoveries that we never realized were there? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, in the past, before shale gas activities were occurring, natural gas was running $11, $14 an MMBTU, but today, to get above $3 is a particular challenge. And you think about the conversion rate with natural gas units, they're much more efficient than other types of generation units. So it turns out to be really a double positive for customers.
Tom, you at Southern Company have really made a point of trying to have a very well-rounded energy portfolio of different sources that you're using. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. We're leading the renaissance of nuclear in America. We're continuing to have great success building our new nuclear plants. We have converted a whole lot of our coal production to natural gas. We used to produce about 70% of our energy from coal. Now it's going to be about 32%, we think, this year.
When was it 70%? How long back?
About 5 years ago.
Wow.
And then gas used to be at that time about 16%. Now it's going to be about 48%. In terms of technology innovation, one of the things we were talking about, we have remained, I think, the only company in our industry doing robust proprietary research and development. We developed our own coal technology, gasifies coal. We will strip out CO2, so from a carbon footprint standpoint, it's actually cleaner than natural gas. We're deploying that in Mississippi. We think it has great applications, frankly, in China and a variety of places around the world, including Eastern Europe.
And can you retrofit old factories with that technology?
No, this would be more for power plants, not factories.
Not factories, but power plants. No, but can you retrofit a power plant, rather?
The next evolution of technology will be more suitable. It's the technology we're putting in place in Mississippi.
I'm just thinking if you're going to try to use it in China, there's lots of power plants there that are running on coal.
Sure, but there's a whole lot more demand. We think there could be as much as 30,000 megawatts new coal that could be suitable for this kind of technology. If you think about Eastern Europe, where you have countries like Poland where 85–90% of their energy comes from coal, and they're also dependent upon Gazprom, good heavens, if they can use this technology in a carbon-friendly way, boy, that works like a champion.
You've invested also in wind.
You bet.
And solar.
One of the biggest investors in solar in the United States.
The economics of that, does it still work?
Sure. The economics are really tilted towards tax benefits. You know, the Energy Information Administration gives tax preference items to wind and solar about 100 times more.
So that would be a no, it doesn't work.
The economics don't work. Right, but that's the point.
That would not be a yes, it works.
With the tax benefits, it works beautifully. Without the tax benefits.
Yes, if you mean no.
No. With the tax benefits, it does. Without the tax benefits, it's certainly not as competitive, that's for sure.
Okay. Okay, if my grandmother had...
Did you ever...
But the tax benefits exist.
My grandmother was...
And let me say this, Joe. We've talked about this. Hang on. We talked about this before.
Just tell the truth.
I am telling the truth, Joe. Here's the deal. We're one of the biggest investors, and I'm very much on record as saying that I think it's bad policy to have these kinds of tax benefits in this way. We should
because they move investment. They
absolutely do. We should let people play on a level playing field.
As long as
Absolutely.
you're going to take
Then the
advantage.
question,
Yeah, absolutely.
in a level playing field world, do you ever see your solar or wind power projects making economic sense?
I think down the road, we've certainly seen this in the solar industry where production costs continue to come down. We continue to see marginal improvements in translation efficiency from sunlight to electricity improve. So yeah, I have been on record. Solar is probably my kind of favorite renewable. Wind has some applications, not necessarily in the Southeast. We don't have the climate that supports wind, but I think solar does.
But it'll never be the base load. It'll never
No,
be.
heavens, no. And in fact,
and technology continues to make hydrocarbons cheaper too. So
Absolutely.
as the solar comes down, it's
Remember, Southern Company is the only company in America that does the full portfolio. When we say all the above, one company doing it, it's us. And we gotta have base load capacity. In fact, I testified in Congress last week about this. America needs base load
if you were
capacity.
testifying, you would have answered that question differently because you're not under oath.
But we need. Hey, wait a minute.
You got to look at tax policy when you were making investment decisions.
Absolutely, you have to.
But Andrews was not. The question was not whether.
I'm just trying to
You're
understand.
saying, does it make economic sense?
just wanna understand.
Nothing makes
Nothing makes tax policy does.
But is there ever an environment in which it makes if it makes sense without the subsidy?
Yeah,
because
that was
There is.
At
you think there is?
Yes.
Nick.
Yeah.
We have over 2,000 megawatts of wind power that we've participated in. And if you have a higher capacity factor, in other words, if you have wind located in areas where wind is blowing considerably, you can get relatively low, very low wind power prices. The key to that is making sure resources are placed in the proper places in the country from a resource standpoint. If you do that and use transmission and infrastructure to get these resources to the load centers, that makes sense. But to try to put wind power everywhere or solar everywhere,
Well,
some of the climates just don't match up.
And Nick, let me just add, you and I see the same stuff here. Wind relies on long-term transmission. That's not the way to design your electricity networks in America. That's not good policy. You don't want, the greater the distance, the greater the risk. That's a big issue. And also, you would agree, you wouldn't build as much wind if you didn't have the production tax credits.
Well,
and that's kind of
I would
the point
disagree
here.
with you a little bit because transmission is a key component of optimizing the grid. So now you can't overdo it. You can't overdo it with natural gas. You can't overdo it with renewables, so forth. But you have to have a balanced portfolio of resources and transmission and infrastructure to support it.
The downside to wind, the noise that around, if it's around people, don't try and build them in Hyannisport with the Kennedys.
Yeah, that's right. And in the past, we've had states trying to outdo each other from a political standpoint with these kinds of notions. And
how can you outdo natural gas? I don't think you can overdo natural gas.
Yes, you can.
How? What could go wrong?
Because natural gas infrastructure doesn't completely support the ability to move a massive amount of our
but then you
resources
get to
to
build
that.
the infrastructure then,
Sure,
and then everybody's happy.
But that takes time, and also during winter months, natural gas is less effective because
we're building out the infrastructure of all these pie-in-the-sky things. Why not build out the infrastructure of the natural gas?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and let's
We
do
should be
nuclear,
building
let's
out
do other
infrastructure.
stuff.
exactly.
And don't forget
Why do
energy intensity and
things
land
that you need
use.
tax subsidies to? Why build out
You
an
shouldn't.
infrastructure?
That's my
That's what I
point.
mean.
Well, Joe, let's remember there is a renewable resource that actually creates more electricity than solar today. Garbage.
Garbage. There you go.
Okay. No subsidies.
Who loves you? I don't
Nick,
ever
Tom,
I love
gentlemen,
garbage.
thank you guys for
Thank you.
coming in today.
Thanks,
It's great to see you both.